Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and today I have been a very busy boy indeed trying to figure out everything that's going on with all of the double game weeks, the blank game weeks, everything like that over the next 5-6 game weeks to try and figure out what is going on, how we can deal with this, what's the best response to this so you guys don't have to. I made a few videos like this last season where we kind of analysed the fixtures and kind of looked at chip strategy, and I was so happy with those videos. They had a really positive reaction, so I'm super confident that this video is going to be so useful to you guys. It's going to help you make sense of everything. We're going to use lovely graphics. We're going to have really basic explanations for things to try and just make all of the complications of FPL right now really simple for you. So if you only have to watch a few videos of mine every season, this should be one of them, as will the more videos in the future that I make around double game weeks, blank game weeks, chip strategy and stuff like that. Speaking of which, guys, this is part 1 of 2. There's going to be a second part of this video where we are going to talk in detail about specific chip strategies depending on what chips you have left and what kind of scenario your team's in. We're going to talk in detail in the next video, but for now we're going to kind of mostly just analyze the fixtures and how in very basic terms how to navigate them. So there we go. If you enjoy what you see today, if you like everything, the graphics, the explanations, blah blah blah, please do leave a like. Massively helps out the channel, and do subscribe if you want more FPL stuff. But without further ado, I think I've spoken enough. Let's get on with it. Okay, so here it is. Here is my big, lovely table of fixtures. Feel free to screenshot this and, have it on your phone if you want to use it for reference or whatever, something like that. I know these tables are really useful. So, yeah, I've spent some time making this so you guys can just see the next 5 game weeks very simply. Who has doubles, who have blanks, what are the fixture difficulties, etc., etc. So, yeah, feel free to use this image for your own leisure, basically. But yeah, let's start off talking about the double game week 25. So Brighton and Manchester United, these are the two teams that do have a double game week because they face each other. That makes sense, right? So in game week 25, this is going to be the only double game week in the whole game week. So there we go, nice and simple. Brighton and Manchester United, we're going to talk a little bit about them more in greater detail in a little bit later on in the video. But I think what we're all here for really is to talk about the double game week 26 that was announced just today. So we already knew about the Liverpool one, but we've got a lot more. We've got a lot more. So let's talk about Arsenal first of all. Arsenal, they're playing Brentford and Wolves both at home. This looks kind of good, particularly for those defenders. Ramsdale, Tierney, Tomiyasu, those are kind of the players that you're probably going to be looking at for these fixtures. That could be very nice indeed. On to Burnley, Brighton away, Tottenham at home. This is okay. I don't know. Burnley, we want to see a little bit more from Burnley. We want to see them really improving before we go too far in on their players. But certainly you could go for one defender over these 2 games. Brighton away is not bad at a game for a defender, and who knows what kind of Spurs team are going to turn up. And I have kind of seen some flashes of improvement in the Burnley defence as well, so maybe something to consider there. Palace again are against Chelsea at home and Watford away. That's not too bad. We've got this nice fixture against Watford. The Chelsea game, not so good, but to be fair, Chelsea have not exactly been amazing recently, so you do feel like a team like Palace could actually potentially do a little bit of damage here. So Edouard, he looks really good for this game, the striker. Maybe Elise as a punt, but what I will say to you guys is Gallagher. I know a lot of you guys are going to be shouting, Gallagher. He can't play Chelsea, unfortunately, because he is a Chelsea player loaned out to Crystal Palace, so he can't play against his parent club there. We've got Leeds against Manchester United and Liverpool. Pretty bad fixtures, to be fair. I would say that only Rafinha would be worth considering for this double. Liverpool play Norwich at home and Leeds at home. Now, this is insane, right? This is arguably a game week where you absolutely must triple up on those Liverpool assets. Salah, Trent, and probably Robbo would be the third. Robertson. He's going to be, for me, the ideal third of the triple up there. Salah is absolutely required in this game week as well, and I feel like it's one of those game weeks where you must get Salah and you absolutely must captain him as well, because those of you, those people who don't captain Salah, if Salah scores, a couple of goals over the course of 2 games, and that's in 2 games for Salah to score a couple of goals, easily done. If that happens and you haven't captained Salah, you are going to find yourself really far behind, kind of no matter what happens. You are asking for trouble if you don't captain Salah in this game week. So make sure you've got Salah back. Make sure you can captain him for this game week as well. I guess kind of the only other thing worth mentioning about here is the Carabao Cup final is 4 days after the Leeds game. So some people are saying there might be a little bit of rotation there, but among the very key players, you know, Salah and, you know, the fullbacks and stuff like that, I wouldn't be expecting, you know, I wouldn't be, you know, presuming there's going to be rotation. Maybe there's like a tiny bit. You know, players like Jota are probably more at risk than a player like Salah, to be honest. So, yeah, but just one to consider. There's a final for Liverpool, only Carabao Cup, but still a final for Liverpool 4 days after the Leeds game. So, yeah, one to think about. We've got Spurs. They play Man City away and Burnley away. So, Burnley's a pretty good fixture, you would say. Man City, I actually think is not as bad as it looks, particularly like, you know, for a player like Son, Heung-min Son on the counter. Could do pretty well. He has in the past done pretty well against Man City and Spurs, particularly when Spurs are at home, and I know they're away, but Spurs actually don't have such a bad record against Man City. But defenders, they could be nice for the Burnley game, but not, you know, a Spurs defender is really not going to be too much better than a Spurs defender on a single game week because the other fixture is City. So I don't know, not massively confident about going all in on Spurs in this double game week, but whatever, that's kind of up to you. Watford play Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. That's not bad fixtures, to be fair. You say they're probably average fixtures, but Watford are kind of in poor form. Are you prepared to get burned by them again? I know I'm not with Emmanuel Dennis. After the Dennis situation in Game Week 23, I don't think I can ever trust a Watford player in a double game week ever again. But yeah, King and Dennis, they're the kind of only real options, but I don't really like the double up for Watford either because they're just not really good enough as a team as a whole, and I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. And finally, we've got Wolves versus Leicester and Arsenal. Leicester at home, Arsenal away. Wolves attack, you know, definitely not even worth talking about. Can a defender maybe get a clean sheet in one of these games? Maybe. I mean, if we're completely honest, if you're looking for clean sheets, Leicester and Arsenal are not exactly, you know, teams you will target if you're looking for clean sheets, right? But Wolves are a very, very good defence, so it could very well happen. One Wolves defender might be nice to go for here. So Cody is going to be the safe pick there. You know he's going to be playing every single game, not just for the short term, but for the long term as well. So he's going to be nailed on in that Wolves team. Aït-Nouri, the spicier pick, you know, a little bit cheaper, much more attacking potential, but you never know. There could be a situation where he is either rotated or maybe even leaves the team entirely. But I don't know. I feel like Aït-Nouri is in this team to stay. I really do. So that would be my pick. But I know a lot of people prefer someone a little bit safer. And Cody would be the one for you there. So I've also got some teams with no confirmed doubles whatsoever here. So Villa, Brentford, Chelsea, Everton, Leicester, City, Newcastle, Norwich, Southampton, West Ham. None of these teams have doubles as things stand anywhere. And they're kind of unlikely to until, you know, some of them, you know, have the potential at Game Week 27 at the absolute earliest. So in Game Week 25, 24, 25, 26, none of these teams are going to have double game weeks. So unless you're on a wild card, you're probably not going to be using your transfers to bring in the players from these teams, with the possible exception of Man City, I suppose. Two of these teams also blank in Game Week 27. So Chelsea and Leicester have no doubles in the upcoming games and blank in 27. So they're real kind of avoid teams for now. However, from Game Week 28, both of them have great fixture swings and lots of potential future double game weeks as well. So keep an eye on them, but they're not teams you actually want to go out and purchase the players from right now. But in the future, very soon, we are going to be talking a lot about these teams. For now, not for us. So back onto the double game week 26. I mean, that's why you're all here after all, isn't it? Two of the teams I think have really nice doubles indeed. Liverpool and Arsenal. You definitely want that Liverpool triple up. Salah, Trent, and then one of Robbo or Jota, I suppose. For Arsenal, you're probably going to want to double up on them too. At least one defender, Ramsdale, Tierney, Tomiyasu, maybe Ben White if you're a bit of a cheapskate. Maybe two of the above. And you could maybe consider one attacker as well. So Martinelli and Saka would be the two attackers I would be interested in going for from Arsenal. Not just for this double. You know, Brentford is pretty nice there. But because Arsenal have great fixtures when they do play. I know they don't play every single game week over the next 5. But when they do play, the fixtures are not bad at all. But also, the fixtures that they have between now and the end of the season are actually very, very good. They've got a really good run of fixtures all the way till the end of the season, and they're also guaranteed a minimum of 3 more double game weeks between now and the end of the season. So this is really good. They are a team that we want to invest in long term. They're unlikely to blank again this season as well. So there is lots to like about Arsenal for the long term. But Have you noticed anything worrying about these two teams? You know, despite the fact that they're desirable in Game Week 26, maybe there's something that's slightly less desirable about them. Well, yeah, they both blank in Game Week 27, so this leaves us in kind of a really annoying situation. Two teams we'd love to load up on from Game Week 26 onwards, but this pesky Game Week 27 blank is in the way. It's like a wall. It's like a barricade between, you know, the times where we would want these players, right? It's so annoying. So this is something that you kind of need to think about. Do you avoid Arsenal players altogether? Do you try and, you know, maybe just take one and try and bench them in 27? Do you transfer an Arsenal or Liverpool player out before the Game Week 27 deadline and maybe bring them back in later? Maybe you can wildcard them back in later, or you can use the free hit or wildcard chip in Game Week 26, or try to, you know, or maybe use it in 27, or you can try and kind of easily escape this problem with one of those chips in Game Week 26 or 27. Wildcard, free hit, these are kind of the chips that are kind of your friend in these difficult situations, I suppose. This is kind of what you got to think about. How do you take advantage of Liverpool and Arsenal in Game Week 26, where things look really good, without paying the price in Game Week 27, where things look really bad? And in a similar vein, Brighton and Man United also kind of have a similar problem due to fixture swings. Both teams have this really nice double in Game Week 25. Okay, a single game week fixture in 26. Good fixtures in Game Week 27, particularly Manchester United in 27, but both of these teams have very poor fixtures in the longer run. Brighton have poor fixtures from Game Week 29 onwards, and Man United have poor fixtures from Game Week 28 onwards. Now, Brighton, I think you could maybe get away with, you know, keeping maybe one player, particularly if they're a really cheap player, kind of in the slightly longer term. You know, Sanchez as a backup goalie, maybe you can just leave in your squad to just kind of waste away there, or Veltman as your fifth defender, he can just stay on your bench. That would be fine to keep these kind of players, but for United particularly, you're just simply not going to want to keep them from Game Week 28 onwards. They're too expensive. You know, Manchester United are not playing well enough to justify keeping them through bad runs of fixtures. So they're great in the short term, but not so great after. How do you deal with this? Well, what do you do? Do you load up now and sell later? Will you have enough transfers to do this? Can you wildcard these players out at a later date? Do you even have enough of these players right now to take advantage of the Game Week 25 double? So again, this is an annoying complication of these upcoming fixture runs, which kind of make maybe Manchester United and Brighton, although the fact that we kind of like the idea of them having a nice double game week in 25, do we really want to go for them too heavily? Do we want to go full ham on them? I don't really know. It's kind of another one of those tricky ones, unless you can kind of navigate this with some chips. And I've got one more spanner for your works. There is some potential for Villa, Burnley, Leeds, Newcastle and Watford to have one of their unscheduled games in, you know, moved into the Game Week 27 midweek slot. So, yeah, that's something to think about as well. This can't happen for all of them, but maybe one or two. Villa versus Burnley, that's kind of looking like the most likely to go into this Game Week 27 slot. This would create a double game week for some teams and a blank game week for other teams at the same time, which is just, you know, even more messy, but it does give some more appeal to players like Digne, Watkins, Coutinho from Villa, maybe Pope, a defender, or Weghorst from Burnley, Rafinha, maybe the Watford attackers too, but who knows. I don't think, personally, it's worth banking or, you know, expecting any of these teams to get a double, personally, but I just thought I'd throw out the information out there, you know, just there is a possibility, and you guys can do whatever you want kind of thing with that info. So who should we be targeting? Which teams do we like? Who should we get the players from? Well, I guess let's do a process of elimination here. First of all, let's get rid of the Chelsea and Leicester teams entirely. Neither of them are going to have any double game weeks anytime soon. They both have blanks in Game Week 27. You know, Chelsea actually have a few more blanks. They're going to frustrate us. We don't really want to have to deal with that. And they don't really have good runs of fixtures until Game Week 28 onwards anyway. So they can just get in the bin. No Chelsea, no Leicester here. After that, we have these teams that don't have any scheduled double game weeks, and they're also generally kind of uninteresting teams. So Brentford, they've shown poor form recently. They've got a couple of tricky fixtures in the next three as well. Everton, they have good fixtures in the immediate term, but at a time where other teams have double game weeks. After that, they have poor fixtures, so they're definitely not good long-term picks. Newcastle, pretty poor fixtures generally. Certainly not good enough for us to put any faith in a side that we wouldn't usually put faith in at the best of times. Norwich, you know, who is is buying Norwich players in 2022, seriously. Southampton, poor fixtures in the next two, although I kind of am open to a Broja, maybe as a bench option to bring into the starting 11 later, but you're probably not going to actually, transfer in any Southampton players before game week 27 at the absolute earliest. So these are kind of the teams that you probably want to kind of avoid, arguably sell some of these players as well from these teams. Now, Villa, City and West Ham are the only teams without doubles that I would still kind of consider. They are good teams with good fixtures, and you never know, some of their players could surprise you with some monster scores, even in a single game week. Watkins and Digne I like from Villa. De Bruyne, Cancelo I like a lot from City. Maybe Foden and Laporta to a lesser extent, but I don't think I'd be willing to triple up on there. Remember, City will be focusing on the Champions League at the same time, so there might be a little bit of rotation there with the slightly less nailed on players. And West Ham, we have Jared Bowen, great player, great form, still more than capable of thriving in a single game week, particularly in games like Watford in 24, Leicester in 25, Newcastle in 26. I wouldn't be surprised if Bowen actually outscored a lot of the double game week players. And finally, let's talk very briefly about chips. Like I said, there will be a part 2 kind of thing to this video where we're going to talk in greater detail about some various chip strategies and advantages and disadvantages to each. Make sure you are subscribed with notifications on if you are interested in that. I'll probably upload that tomorrow. But just to keep you guys going with a couple of discussion points until then, let's talk very vaguely about some good times during this run to use some of our chips. So, the most glaringly obvious chip to use over this period is indeed the triple captain chip in double game week 26. Why? Because the best attack in the league is about to play 2 home games against 2 of the worst defences in the league. That's pretty obvious. And who do you suppose will be well and truly back from AFCON by this point? Well, it's none other than Mane. No, I'm joking. It's Salah. Mo Salah, by far the best FPL asset in the entirety of the game this season. So, for those of you who still have your triple captain chip left, this is a super obvious time to use it. You won't get much better than this. Liverpool have already beaten both of these teams 3-0 away from home, and Salah has already scored 2 goals and got 2 assists against each of these teams. Well, I mean, with those 2 teams combined. So again, really obvious player and team to go for. I wouldn't worry too much about Salah getting rested here either. He's going to be desperate to come back to the Premier League and get his goal scoring record up. He hates being benched. He hates being subbed. He will desperately want to play every single minute. So yeah, this is a super obvious and no-brainer triple captain opportunity. Arguably boring because everyone else will be doing it as well, but it's obvious and boring for a very good reason. And if someone advises you kind of not to triple captain Salah in game week 26, it's probably because of one or of 2 reasons. A, they already spent their triple captain chip earlier on in the season and they're pretty salty about it. Or B, they're trying to get an advantage over you by putting doubts in your mind, even though they will absolutely be using the triple captain chip on Salah themselves. So yeah, really obvious one here, but it's not the only option. You could also free hit here. This maybe works if you're struggling to get these double game week players. That way you can just focus on ensuring you have the players for the game week 25 double and covering the game week 27 blanks and have that free hit wedged in between to kind of sort that out. You could also free hit in game week 27 if you have too many Arsenal, Liverpool players. Maybe you have Chelsea and Leicester players you want to keep for the long term and you just want that quick get out of jail free card. Again, you can focus entirely on having a good squad for the game week 26 doubles and then building a team for the long term and not really have to worry about the game week 27 banana skin in between that. And then you can also do a bit of both. Triple captain 26, free hit 27, solves the Salah problem as you get to triple captain him in 26, but you can just free hit him out of your team in game week 27, ready to have him back for game week 28 again and just keep him for the rest of the season. Beautiful stuff. One thing I would say here, however, is just be very careful if you only have 1 free hit chip left. It seems like game week 30 could be the optimal point to use a free hit, as there will be a lot of blanks in game week 30 due to the FA Cup, and the blanking players that are blanking in game week 30 are probably going to be the players that you want to keep long term as well. So the free hit is going to be a really useful get out of jail for 1 week. It sounds like it's going to be ideal in 30 where you get to keep buy and keep all of the players that you really want and be able to cover yourself for game week 30 as well. So I strongly do recommend trying to save at least 1 of your free hit chips for game week 30. in which case, you know, you may have to be more carefully plan around these fixtures without using a free hit chip if you only have one left. So, you know, for those of you who have managed to save both of your free hit chips, you do have a lot more, you know, a lot more options for kind of strategy. And I know I spoke quite a bit about chips there, but there are some seriously kind of full-blown multi-chip combo strategies that I do want to talk about in full detail. And I've got a few chip combo strategies that could be, you know, seriously awesome. Different ones too, depending on how your team is set up, what chips do you have remaining, etc., when to use wildcards, bench boosts, etc. But anyway, I will save that for next video. But for now, I mean, I just hope you enjoyed or found this video very, very useful indeed. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate you joining me on this video. It's been a little bit of work to make, but it's absolutely fine. I've enjoyed making it. I've taught myself a lot and hopefully kind of helped you guys to kind of understand what's going on right now with all the double game weeks and kind of, I don't know, just maybe simplify things with graphics. I mean, that's probably what the best thing this video has done, really, isn't it? But yeah, if you did enjoy it, make sure you do like, make sure you subscribe for more FPL content, and do let me know as well what you guys are thinking, what your initial thoughts for either transfers or chip strategies over this next period of 5 games. I'll be super interested to hear from you guys. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Hope to see you on the next one, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.